A student is suing his teacher for having had sex with him. This is an interesting story. A former student is suing a science teacher in Texas for the emotional and physical damage that he sustained when she manipulated him, allegedly manipulated him into a sexual relationship. The student goes by the pseudonym Mark Smith. He filed the lawsuit a few days ago against Rochelle Heenan, who he says took advantage of his immaturity during a series of trysts when he was 17 and she was 34, according to the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. He was mentally impacted by what happened, according to his attorney. He was impressionable, there was an age difference, and the fact that she was a teacher created a disproportionate power dynamic. Edmonds says that Smith was so damaged by the sexual assault and the rape that the career he planned in the Marine Corps was ruined by the notoriety and embarrassment brought on by the affair. I'm very interested in this story for two reasons. Number one, the punishment the teacher received was 5 years probation, okay, which many would argue is a ridiculous sentence. At the same time, if you look online at different stories about this lawsuit, you'll see so many comments from people saying, this is every kid's dream. What, now he's suing her? And this is a huge problem. We've talked about the lack of equity when we look at how man on younger woman versus woman on younger man sexual assault and rape are handled, especially in cases where it is a teacher-student situation. And it is factually true that the student was raped, sexually assaulted by the letter of the law here, and that it would be no different legally, imagine, if a 34-year-old male teacher had had sex with a 17-year-old female student. The reaction is always drastically different, and it really shouldn't be. Whatever arguments people like Brian Fisher, right, might make about what men and women are designed to do, or whether some young boys would fantasize about having sex with their female teachers, that stuff is extrajudicial, and it should have nothing to do with the sentences that are carried out here. And 5 years probation, very fair to argue that it's a ridiculous sentence. And the idea that the lawsuit is invalid because it was a woman having sex with a male student is absurd.
Right. You know, I'm sure, I guarantee you there are situations in which the young male student is the aggressor and coaxes a young but older female teacher into something like this. But if you don't have those laws in place, then you're not protecting the ones who are the victims in other cases. And so it is necessary.
Absolutely. And even in those cases where you hear, well, they were seduced. Remember, we just did a story about when an 11-year-old or 12-year-old girl, according to a judge, had supposedly seduced the 40-year-old man that raped her. Even if they think they're doing that, even if they think they want the sexual encounter, legally speaking, it is still a crime because they are not they are not, according to the law, able to make that decision. And that's why it's so important that the laws be in place. Let's play some of your... Yeah, go ahead, Louis.
Yeah, and if you're the teacher who gives in to that,
right,
then why are you in that workplace to begin with? You clearly should not be.
All of a sudden, adult teachers are easily seduced by 12-year-olds, and they just can't help it. I mean, it's ridiculous.